On New Year's Eve, one wants to look their best, and even though I'm not going to host any TV special, I'm going to look like if I was going to, sparkly. And for that I have two rain months. Of course, it's the rain month. And I have this sparkly bit. It's a sequin, and I used it for the headband I did in September. And I also have this black satin that it's quite thick and it looks really nice. So this is going to be really strange. It's something I will never buy for myself. The dress is really weird. It has this asymmetrical cut and it's like a mixture with the sequins and the satin. It's like a mini dress in sequin and then the satin wrapping around. But of course I'm going to use my block, my basic block. If you don't have one of these, maybe you can use a t-shirt that fits you really well. And if you want to have a look, I'll leave you the link in the description box down below. And if you're not, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot, and that way you don't miss anything. With the help of our bodice block, we're going to cut half the bodice front and back, pleat it and sew it by the shoulder. The other half, in a sweetheart neckline, needs as well the lining. Once cut, we can sew front and back together, so we can then sew the big pieces and place it on top of the block so we can sew all of it. The longer part of the skirt is pleated as the bodice hangs onto it, and the shorter one is sewn right underneath to give movement to the dress. I have two pieces of sequin, one bigger than the other because this one is the one that I use for the headband. And then the satin, I have another two pieces. One is only half a meter that I'll be using for the top, and then the other one is bigger, it's like 1.20 meters that I'll be using for the skirt. The skirt will be nice, not to drag, but to be like ankle length, but well, who am I kidding? I'm going to use that amount despite whatever I like, but you can do it different lengths, of course. And of course on the side, on the satin side, it's going to have a black zip, an invisible one. This one is 40 centimeters. Yes, I think it'll be okay. Ooh. Sequin everywhere, shiny floor. And I also have this black cotton that I've used for the Halloween dress and for the evening jumpsuit, so the stretchy material doesn't stretch too much and I don't end up naked. I'm going to start with the bodice, of course, because it's the most complicated stuff. It has a lot going on in there. And with the satin bit, I'm going to do a pleated shoulder, so I'm going to do the same I did with the red velvet dress, which is leaving it wider to the neck side, so then I can pleat and then shape it. It won't have any darts, I don't think it needs it, because the pleats allow you to have room for your bust, so I think it's okay like that. I have my two pieces cut, front and back, and for the back, of course, I used the back block. And one thing I did is to leave a lot of seam allowance here, because this is the bit I want to fold, the neckline bit, the cleavage area, so I don't have to do any seams there, just leave it like that. I think I might have to sew the sequins in here, but I'll sew it to the pleat once it's all pressed. And another thing is that I didn't leave it straight. Another thing is that I cut it diagonally here because I'm not going to leave any darts. Now that I have it all well pressed, I'm going to sew it by the shoulders by opening those folded bits, because that way when you fold it you won't see the seam. If not, it will look weird. This is how we're doing. It looks nice. The only thing is that when I was marking, I did it wrong at first, and I have this chalk mark here. I'm trying to wash it out. Let's see how that works. But now what I'm going to do is to cover the rest of the bodice with sequins. I was going to say lentils. For that I'm going to give it a bit of a heart shape here, so it's not straight band, and I'm going to help myself with the bodice block as well. To get the sequin bit and helping myself with the block, I had into account I could use the two lines here I have. The line underneath is the armhole line, and the one on top is the cross front line, which is the line you have right on top before your bust curve starts. So that's where you want to cut. And then what I did is that I left more fabric on the sequence so I could pleat it a little bit on the neckline, on the cleavage area, and then on the lining I just did the heart shape already. And for the back I just did it straight. I didn't do any curves or anything, just straight back. Now that I have my pieces cut, I can sew lining with lining and sequin with sequin on this side. So then I can sew it right sides together to have this sort of bustier. This is how we're doing and how it's supposed to go. And now to sew it to the satin, I'm not going to do it like this, I'm going to do it with the help of the block as well. This is how we're doing. I think it looks quite nice. The only problem I had is, of course, that the pleats were opening because they weren't fixed. So I sewed them together. So in the end, it's like big darts going all the way down the chest. But it doesn't really matter. It looks nice anyways. Because when I was trying to see if the zip would work there, if the measurement was right, it was opening. So I decided to go like this. And now with the skirt, of course my pinafore is over there because I chose the worst outfit to be trying on and off stuff. So now with the skirt. The skirt is going to be the same, the black satin wrapping the sequin, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a bit more of sequin so it's not sewn here to the satin on the corner. So when walking you can see a bit of sequin underneath the satin. Pinafore on again. This is how we're doing. I'm quite pleased. There wasn't any problem sewing this satin over satin, leaving the gap for the sequin. The problem is that I don't have enough sequin to make a whole mini skirt underneath the dress. So I have a little panel that I've already hemmed with the same color so you don't see it, and a zigzag stitch. And then I pleated the sides. Why did I pleat the sides? Because of this. I don't have enough for a whole mini skirt, so I have to make the effect that this is covering and this is nice and gathered. So I'm going to sew this to this panel so it has this this flowy effect of a skirt under another skirt. Here we are a bit later. The skirt was really easy to sew. I'm quite surprised about how easy sequins are sewn. I thought it would be more difficult, except for the amount of waste, the amount of little bit of sequins all over the place, even in the machine. So I have 2 pins on the sides in case I want to stitch it around so it doesn't move, but it doesn't look like it. I think it looks really cool. I think a whole panel of sequins will work if you have a long skirt all the way down. That way it's like a tier of material that's dropping on the side. But I think that the cool thing about this dress is to have a mini skirt underneath, so it looks like you can take one off. You can't, but that could be a good idea as well. And so now what I have left to do is to hem it and to sew the zip. To hem it, I don't know if I said it before, but the salvage edge of this material is just the same as the rest of the material, so I didn't cut it. I use it as it was for the sides of the skirt. I pleated the sides to add more volume, but I didn't do anything to the sides. It hasn't got any different tone to it, or any different stitches, or any little holes sometimes they bring, nothing at all. So I thought that why the hem will look better, because I want it to look heavy. So because I have this nice edge, I pressed it all the way around, and I sew the side all the way up and the double hem, so that way when I turn it right sides out, it looks nice and neat, and it doesn't have a hole like a tunnel all the way around the dress. So I could do it by hand, but I'm not completely sure I can do it really well. So I'm going to hem it by machine and then add the zip. So here we are. I'm sure there are mistakes. I'm sure people who know about sewing and how to sew properly will tell me that there are things I didn't sew properly. Of course, I agree with everything, but I'm in love with it. Don't you like it? It's really cute. It's something I will never buy in a shop because I think it's too much. I don't have anywhere to wear it to, but I think it's lovely to watch a film on New Year's Eve, don't you think? Here on the sofa with my cup of tea. I think the length is perfect because you can walk without tripping, and I really like everything. I was quite nervous because I didn't have any more sequins, I didn't have any more satin, it was remnants, and I was nervous about how they will work together because one is really stretchy, the other one isn't, but it worked out fine. Of course, it's really slippery and it goes everywhere except where you want it to go, but I didn't have any problem sewing it at all. Thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought, if you like it, if you are going to do something special for New Year's Eve, and don't forget to subscribe or to share this beauty with someone who might like this content. See you next week. Bye. Peachy on. Ooh. Sequin everywhere. Shiny floor.